A service door swings open into a narrow alley and throws a hard rectangle of light onto wet stone. Naruto steps out with a heavy bag in one hand, head turned back toward the warmth inside as a muffled voice scolds him for taking too long. He answers like it is normal, like he belongs somewhere, like the word mom is just a sound people use when they are trying to be heard over steam and clattering bowls. Then the door shuts. The alley swallows the light, and Naruto's face settles into the version the village never bothers to look for. He moves fast, not the sloppy sprint people expect from the loud one, efficient, quiet. The bag drops into the bin with a practiced twist that keeps the stink off his clothes. His hands never fumble, his eyes never wander. He watches corners the way grown shinobi do because Konoha's streets teach lessons that classrooms pretend don't exist. By the time he reaches the academy, he is already wearing the mask again. The grin is easy, the walk is loose. The voice is a little too bright, a little too careless. It is armor made out of mockery. It keeps the predators bored and the cowards comfortable. Inside, the room smells like chalk and sweat and nerves. Graduation day. The room is full of people who have trained together for years and still treat each other like strangers with knives behind their backs. Iruka stands at the front, steady as always. Mizuki leans against the wall like this is entertainment. Naruto catches the small things. Iruka's eyes flick to him, checking for injuries that are never visible. Mizuki's mouth tightens when he thinks no one is watching. A scowl thrown like a dart. Personal, cold. Iruka calls the room to order. Names go up, techniques go out. One by one, students pass and collect their headbands like receipts for obedience. Sasuke performs perfectly, of course. The room holds its breath for him like he's a prophecy that walks. Then Mizuki calls Naruto. Naruto steps forward with his usual swagger, but the moment he begins to shape chakra, something feels wrong. The flow drags. Not his normal resistance. Not the familiar imbalance people gossip about. This is interference. A hand on the river. Mizuki tells him to make a basic clone. Naruto tries to form 3. He produces one distorted failure that collapses in on itself like a punctured skin. The room laughs the way villages laugh when they think cruelty is tradition. Naruto doesn't laugh. He doesn't even look surprised. He just looks at Mizuki, and for an instant the grin dies and something sharper takes its place. He recognizes sabotage the way some people recognize perfume. He has been breathing it his whole life. Mizuki makes the failure official with a bright voice and a clean lie. Iruka's gaze shifts between Naruto and the ruined clone, and there is a fraction of confusion there, a fraction of doubt. Not in Naruto's effort, in the situation. Naruto returns to his seat, shoulders loose, acting like none of it matters. That is the second mask, the one that tells everyone they still have control over him, but inside, he is already moving ahead. He is already counting, he is already planning. Mizuki finds him after, the way vultures find what they think is wounded. He offers a special test, a way to graduate anyway, a way to prove himself, a way to strike back at the people who have held him down. Naruto nods like he believes it. He plays the fool because the village only understands 2 versions of him, the joke or the threat, and he has learned that the joke is the easier disguise. He slips through the tower that holds the village's secrets with a kind of familiarity that should not exist in a student. He reaches the scroll that Mizuki wants, takes it, and disappears into the trees before anyone can cut him off. In a quiet clearing, he opens the scroll and finds exactly what Mizuki promised would make him a real shinobi. The technique is there. The shadow clone technique, real clones, forbidden because it is too dangerous for ordinary chakra reserves. Naruto reads it once. Then he reads it again, not like a desperate kid, but like a man with a private library in his head. He practices, not for hours of montage, not for days of fantasy. He practices until the seals click into place, until the chakra route settles, until his body recognizes the pattern. He does it with the controlled stubbornness of someone who has been teaching himself out of discarded pages and half-burned notes for years. And when he is sure, he does something else. He copies. He doesn't just learn the one technique he needs to graduate. He transfers more of the scroll's contents into his own blank scrolls, fast and precise, as if he has done this 100 times before. He categorizes, separates, protects. He turns theft into a personal archive. That choice is a quiet divergence. It is not flashy. It does not explode. It is simply Naruto deciding that power is not something the village loans to him. Power is something he acquires. When footsteps crash toward the clearing, Naruto expects Mizuki. Instead, Iruka arrives first, breathing hard, eyes burning with concern and anger. Naruto greets him with a grin and a lie that is also a warning. He tells Iruka that Mizuki sent him, that Mizuki said this was the test. He watches Iruka's face, hoping the meaning lands before it is too late. Mizuki appears above them, exactly on cue, and the lie becomes a trap. Words fly. Accusations. Orders. Mizuki tries to frame Iruka as the thief, tries to twist the scene so that the only person who ever defended Naruto becomes the villain. Then, the metal hits. A giant shuriken slams into Iruka's back as he shields Naruto with his own body. For a moment, Naruto's mind refuses to accept it. The village has never offered him protection without a price. Iruka has never treated him like a weapon. Iruka has treated him like a person. Mizuki uses the moment to spill the other truth, the one the village hides behind glares and silence. He tells Naruto what is sealed inside him. He calls him a monster, like, that is a fact, not a choice. Naruto hears it, and every look he has ever gotten suddenly makes sense. Every closed door, every raised price, every flinch, every whispered curse that stopped just short of his ears. But the revelation does not break him the way Mizuki expects. Because Iruka is still bleeding, Naruto runs, not from the truth, but to reposition, to think, to survive. Mizuki pursues, impatient, eager to finish before the village's shadow forces arrive. In the trees, Naruto finds them again. Mizuki stands over Iruka, injured but still upright, still arguing, still refusing to let the village's hatred rewrite what Naruto is. Mizuki reaches for another weapon. Naruto moves. He hits Mizuki hard enough to turn the man's head, lands between them, and speaks with a voice that is not a joke, not loud, not playful, controlled. He tells Mizuki that if he touches Iruka again, he will pay for it. Mizuki laughs because he believes ranks are reality, because he believes Naruto is still the clown in orange who cannot even pass a basic clone test. He attacks to end it quickly. Naruto disappears. Not a dodge, not a stumble, a clean vanish. Naruto speaks again from above, framed by branches, eyes cold in a way the classroom never sees. He forms a seal Mizuki does not recognize fast enough, and the clearing fills with Naruto. Not one, not three, a flood. The forest becomes orange and breath and impact. Clones on branches, clones at Mizuki's blind spots, clones behind him, clones in front of him. An army created from a technique most people cannot survive using. Mizuki's confidence dies in pieces. The beating is not described in gore. It doesn't need to be. The screams do the math. The clones do what Naruto tells them, and Naruto tells them to stop when Mizuki is no longer a threat. Naruto looks down at the broken Chunin and exhales like the act is finished, like the emotion is locked behind glass. Then he turns back to Iruka. Iruka is alive, still stubborn, still trying to pretend he is fine. And when Iruka places a headband on Naruto's forehead and tells him he has passed, Naruto doesn't cheer, he doesn't boast, he simply grabs Iruka and holds on, because this is the first time acceptance is not a performance. Morning finds them at the Hokage's office with the restrained Mizuki dragged in on the backs of clones. The Hokage listens, calm and watchful. The civilian advisors glare like they are staring at a weapon that should have stayed pointed away from them. Naruto returns the stolen scroll without being asked twice. He waits for punishment. The Hokage thanks him instead, praises him for playing the fool long enough to expose a traitor, and grants a mission reward that makes the advisors choke on their own assumptions. Then the real problem surfaces. Naruto's graduation throws off the team numbers. The advisors lean toward the easiest cruelty, the oldest trick, delay him, control him, keep him in limbo. The Hokage refuses, and in that refusal, the timeline bends again. He declares Naruto a one-man cell, a team unto himself, no standard sensei, missions approved directly, backup assignments only when needed, a special case, not out of kindness, but out of strategic necessity. Naruto doesn't hear that conversation. He's already moving, already reorganizing the stolen techniques he copied, already studying what clones can do beyond brute force. He understands what shadow clones really are: leverage, training acceleration, information gathering, multiplying time. When he walks into the academy for team assignments, he looks different enough that even the villagers hesitate before they glare. The orange that once made him easy to dismiss is gone. His posture is sharper. His presence pulls attention in ways it never used to, and the room reacts before anyone speaks. Kiba makes the mistake of mocking his unknown parents. Naruto stops and turns, and the air cools. He twists Kaiba's wrist just enough to make the point without breaking bones, and he warns him with quiet certainty that some lines are not toys. The message lands. Not because Naruto shouts, because Naruto doesn't. Sasuke tries to assert dominance next, like attention is a resource he is owed. Naruto warns him once. When Sasuke insists, Naruto shows him the edge of steel and the edge of strategy, makes it clear that arrogance is not a substitute for awareness. He puts the Uchiha back where he belongs, not with blood, but with control. The room doesn't know what to do with it. Naruto isn't acting like their class clown. He isn't acting like their scapegoat. He is acting like a man who has been surviving while they were competing. Iruka calls Naruto out of the room before the team lists finish. In the hallway, Iruka explains the offer. The untested arrangement. The risks. The absence of a formal mentor. The political reality that would rather see Naruto alone than paired with anyone they might care about. Iruka gives him an out. Naruto considers it longer than people would expect. Then he smiles, not the mask, but something closer to resolve. He accepts the one-man cell, on one condition. He doesn't want an assigned sensei ever, not as a leash, not as a handler. If someone wants to teach him something, they can do it because they choose to, not because the village orders it. Iruka returns with him, announces it to the class, and the room shifts under the weight of the declaration. The insult Kiba throws, the one meant to drag Naruto back into the old narrative, doesn't stick the same way anymore. Because Naruto doesn't chase approval, he simply demonstrates that he is not where they thought he was. Sasuke tests him with violence, believing he can still force Naruto into the role of weak rival. Naruto answers with misdirection, revealing that the target Sasuke struck was never his real body, a clone, a lesson. A reminder that perception is a battlefield too. Iruka moves to discipline Sasuke, but Naruto weighs it off with cold practicality. He doesn't do it out of forgiveness. He does it because Sasuke is not worth derailing the day. Naruto turns toward the door, no team to wait for, no sensei to follow, just the hallway, the village, and a future that now has to account for what he actually is. So here's the question. What happens to Konoha's entire balance of power when the person everyone treats like a problem stops begging to be solved and starts operating like an asset? Naruto steps outside and keeps walking, not toward celebration, not toward the clusters of new cells forming in the street, but toward the one place in the village where decisions are supposed to be made with a whole map in mind. The Hokage's tower is quiet in the early hours, but quiet in Konoha is never peace. It is pressure held in place by paper seals, polite smiles, and a single old man who has learned how to listen through walls. Naruto is announced. He enters without swagger. The grin is gone. He bows with the kind of respect that comes from choosing it, not being forced into it. Hiruzen studies him the way an analyst studies a variable that should not exist. Graduation day was supposed to produce predictable units. Instead, it produces Naruto with the stolen scroll returned, a traitor exposed, and a technique most genin cannot even attempt sitting behind his eyes like a loaded weapon. Naruto doesn't beg. He doesn't ask to be understood. He asks one practical question. Why would a village built on three-person doctrine cut a new shinobi loose as a single unit? The Hokage doesn't pretend it is noble, he makes it clean. Cells exist for survival, coordination, accountability. They exist to stop arrogance from turning into casualties. They exist because most people can't see the whole field when fear hits and blood is in the air. The village teaches teamwork because teamwork is a system for living. But there are exceptions. And Naruto, by existing, is already an exception. Hiruzen explains the political math without dressing it up. There are too many teams, not enough mentors, too much tension around Naruto's presence. Pairing him with anyone makes that person a target. Holding him back makes him a liability sitting inside the walls, stewing. Putting him on his own makes the danger smaller, localized, trackable. It also tests something else. Whether Naruto is a shinobi who needs a leash, or a shinobi who understands doctrine so well he can operate without it. Naruto listens. He doesn't flinch at the implication that the village would rather isolate him than trust him. That has been his entire life. What changes is that he is now standing in the room where isolation can be converted into authority. The Hokage offers him a choice he isn't supposed to get. Wait for the next graduation cycle and a standard cell, or take the one-man designation and start working immediately under direct oversight. Naruto chooses movement. He asks for a mission scroll, not because he wants glory, because he wants distance from classrooms and proximity to outcomes. Hiruzen hands it over, and in that handoff the village's balance shifts. Naruto is no longer a problem to be managed by rumors. He becomes an asset on paper. Down in the mission hall, the staff react like they are watching a story break its own rules. The clerk's posture changes when she reads the seal. Her boredom dissolves into a kind of careful politeness, the kind people use when they realize they might be standing too close to a storm. Naruto takes D ranks first, not glamorous work, deliveries, errands, repairs. The kind of missions civilians forget are missions. He takes them anyway because D ranks are an intelligence map. They put him in streets he normally avoids, inside shops that normally refuse him, near people who normally pretend he isn't there. He runs them fast, not reckless, efficient. And between jobs, he disappears into training grounds that no one claims, places where wind and dust can swallow sound. That is where the real divergence starts to show its teeth. Most genin train like they have time. Naruto trains like time is an enemy he intends to capture. Shadow clones aren't just bodies, they are hours, they are repetitions. They are mistake after mistake absorbed and returned as knowledge. Naruto learns that the moment a clone pops, its experience hits him like a memory he lived himself. So he multiplies. A clone drills footwork until ankles burn. A clone practices tree walking until the bark is scored. A clone runs the hand seals until his fingers cramp. Another clone reads, and another reads, and another reads. Anything he copied, anything he bought, anything he stole with his eyes from a teacher's desk when no one was looking. He is building a private academy inside the space of a single day. He returns to the mission hall to turn in completed work, and the staff start to look at him differently. Not warmly, not kindly. Like a unit that is producing results faster than expected. By afternoon, the sun is lower, and the village is full of newly formed teams moving together in awkward triangles, trying to decide who leads and who follows. Naruto watches them in passing, and he feels something he does not name. Not envy, not longing. Calculation. A cell is leverage. A cell is coverage. A cell is also a liability when the wrong person panics. Naruto's one-man status is clean. He knows exactly whose breath he is responsible for. His route takes him past the academy again, and the rumors have already begun to reorganize the day. People whisper about the fight that never officially happened and the technique they pretend they didn't see. People with pride in their bloodlines make tight expressions when Naruto's name is said out loud. Kiba is the loudest about it. They cross paths near Ichiraku because of course they do. Naruto's life and the village's judgment always seem to intersect in public. Kiba tries to drag Naruto back into the old role with a cheap line about family, about being alone, about being less than. Naruto doesn't bite. He steps close enough that Kiba's confidence stutters, and he speaks quietly, so the humiliation doesn't need an audience. Naruto tells him the village loves loud loyalty until it costs something. Then it hides behind pedigree and excuses. Kiba reaches first, more reflex than strategy. Naruto catches the wrist, turns it just enough to make the lesson undeniable, then lets go like he never needed the hold in the first place. The message is simple. Naruto is not the dead last anymore. The village just hasn't updated the file. Kiba backs off with a snarl that tries to be brave. Naruto doesn't chase him. Chasing is for people who need validation. Later, the day finally gives Naruto something that isn't utility. Hinata finds him in a rare moment when he is alone and not moving, standing near the edge of the street like he is deciding which mask to put on next. Her courage is fragile, but real. She speaks to him like he is a person and not a rumor, and that alone is intimate in a village that has spent years treating him like an inconvenience. Naruto studies her for a beat longer than polite conversation requires. He asks her to dinner, not a joke, not a dare. A clean invitation, delivered like a decision. Hinata freezes like her body doesn't believe the world is allowed to hand her something gentle. Then she nods, too fast, too careful, as if any hesitation might break the moment. Naruto doesn't push. He gives her a time and a place and walks away before either of them can overthink it into failure. That evening, he does not take her somewhere loud and crowded. He chooses a quieter restaurant, tucked away, new enough that his name doesn't carry the same weight inside its walls. He chooses a booth with a view of the room and a back to the wall, because even in peace he refuses to be caught blind. They eat with the kind of silence that isn't awkward. It's cautious. It's two adults trying to understand the rules of a conversation neither of them has been allowed to have before. Hinata's hands are steady. Naruto's are steadier than the village would ever believe. He doesn't act like he has never done this. He acts like he has been watching people do it for years and finally decided to claim it. When it's time to pay, he does it without drama. Mission money. Earned. Logged. He doesn't need to explain. He simply makes it clear he can take care of himself. Afterward, he walks her through streets where the light goes thin. He keeps just enough distance to be respectful, but not so much that it looks like shame. He watches the corners, the windows, the faces that turn away a fraction too slowly. Glares come. They always come. But no one steps in. Not with Hinata at his side. Prestige is a shield, and the village knows it. Naruto feels the hypocrisy in real time. The same people who would spit on him alone swallow their hate when a clan heir is watching. Hinata notices. She drops her gaze, not because she agrees, but because she feels the weight of what she represents beside him. Naruto doesn't comfort her with lies. He doesn't need to. He just keeps walking and lets her see that he has been carrying that weight alone for years. When they part, it is quiet. No grand confession, no childish promises. Just a look held a second too long, a breath that doesn't quite settle, and an understanding that something has changed, even if neither of them says it out loud. Naruto returns to his small retreat as the village grows still. He locks the door, sets his scrolls out like tools, and sits in the center of the room the way a strategist sits at the beginning of a campaign. Elsewhere, in places Naruto can't hear, older men move pieces on boards they pretend are for the good of the village. They call him a weapon. They call him a threat. They talk about delay tactics and choice missions, and accidents that look like fate. Naruto doesn't know their words. He knows the feeling. The pressure is back, building behind eyes he can't see. So he makes a decision that will define this timeline. If the village wants him alone, then alone becomes an advantage. He forms a seal. The room fills with him. Quiet Narutos focused. Narutos who do not laugh, each one already moving toward a different task, turning a single night into a machine that never stops. Because Naruto Uzumaki is done waiting for anyone to decide what he is allowed to become, he forms a seal. The room fills with him. Quiet Narutos focused. Narutos who do not laugh, each one already moving toward a different task, turning a single night into a machine that never stops. Because Naruto Uzumaki is done waiting for anyone to decide what he is allowed to become, and the fastest way to steal back years is to manufacture time. One clone drills chakra control until the walls feel closer than they should. One clone runs hand seals until the rhythm becomes muscle memory. One clone spars in the narrow space with a wooden blade, testing angles, testing balance, testing how much pain can be ignored before it becomes information. Two more read by low light, copying notes, building a private index of everything he's collected and everything he still needs. Naruto sits in the middle of it like a commander in a war room, calm while versions of him grind themselves into competence. By morning, the experiences slam back into him in layered waves. The fatigue is real. The gain is realer. It doesn't make him invincible. It makes him efficient. It makes him dangerous in a way the village doesn't understand yet, because Konoha is used to prodigies who shine in public, not strays who sharpen themselves in the dark. The next few days become a pattern. D ranks in bulk. Training in bursts. Meals taken fast. He also keeps seeing Hinata, not because he needs her status as cover, but because she is one of the few people who looks at him without flinching, and that kind of normalcy becomes its own form of medicine. Their time together stays clean, quiet, charged in the way proximity can be when both sides are careful. Long pauses. Eyes held a beat too long. Words that stop right before they become something that can't be taken back. When the moment threatens to cross a line, Naruto pulls the conversation sideways and lets it breathe, because hunger without control is just another trap. He uses the rest of the village the same way he uses his clones. As terrain. As opportunity. He walks into shops that used to refuse him and watches which hands hesitate when they take his money. He watches who pretends not to recognize him and who recognizes him too quickly. He measures fear. He measures respect. He measures the distance between what people say about him and how they act when he stands close enough to be real. Then he takes one more step. He buys a bingo book. Not because he plans to hunt missing nin as a genin, because knowing what exists changes what you dare. Because ignorance is how people die. He doesn't even blink at the price. He pays like someone who has already decided his survival matters, then leaves with the book tucked under his arm like a weapon that doesn't make noise. And somewhere inside all that new information, he finds something that doesn't fit. A thread. A pattern. Names that repeat. Notes that imply experimentation, control. The kind of ambition that leaves bodies behind. The next time the Hokage summons him, it isn't for a lecture, it's for secrecy. Naruto walks into the office on a Saturday, while other new genin sleep in and pretend their lives haven't changed. Downstairs, he hears the complaints of other teams begging for harder work, and he catches, in passing, the sound of Kakashi's voice negotiating a C-rank escort for a bridge builder from the land of waves. He also catches the arrogance, Sasuke demanding, Sakura praising, Kiba barking, the village's newest units acting like the world is going to politely wait for them to become ready. Naruto doesn't join them, not yet. He locks himself in the Hokage's office with seals active and lays out what he's found. Not rumors, evidence. Notes describing a seal that boosts power while bending will. Experiments that test poison, weakness, compliance. And another technique, something like a mind transfer taken to its final, monstrous conclusion. Hiruzen's face tightens in a way Naruto recognizes as old regret. He confirms the name behind it, Orochimaru, the village's worst kind of genius. The kind that treats people like materials. The kind that doesn't age the way other men do, because he refuses to accept that bodies are meant to end. Naruto feels the temperature in the room drop. This isn't an academic threat. This is a doctrine-level threat. A predator who doesn't just kill you, a predator who can wear you. And then the Hokage makes Naruto an offer that is also an indictment of the village's scarcity. This becomes Naruto's mission. Ongoing, classified, paid by results. Naruto doesn't ask why a genin is carrying this. He already knows the answer. Everyone qualified is gone, busy, or politically inconvenient. So the village places a burden on the one person it thinks it can isolate if something goes wrong. Naruto accepts anyway because there is a line in the sand now. If Orochimaru is moving again, then every future is already being rewritten, and Naruto has no interest in being a footnote in someone else's plan. He leaves a clone inside the tower as a silent relay, then returns to his hideaway and starts rebuilding a madman's methodology in his head, pulling the pieces together with the kind of attention that only comes from having had to solve problems alone. Hours later, the message comes. The Hokage needs him, not for Orochimaru, for Waves. The escort mission has gone wrong. The way escort missions always go wrong when people lie about what they bought. Team 7 has made contact with professional killers. The situation has escalated beyond what 3 Genin and a single Junin should handle cleanly. The village can't afford a public failure that invites predators to test Konoha's borders. Naruto moves immediately. He doesn't complain. He doesn't celebrate. He just becomes motion. He uses clones to travel harder, faster, to keep his senses sharp while his body burns. He reaches the team in the field, not in some heroic entrance meant to impress, but at the exact moment the mission threatens to snap in half. Zabuza Momochi is there, a name Naruto already recognizes from the bingo book, a missing nin with a reputation heavy enough to distort the air around him. Kakashi is already pushed near his limit, eye overused, chakra strained, the fight dragging into a place where one bad second becomes a body on the ground. Naruto arrives in time to see the part no one brags about later. Fear. Not in Kakashi, in the Genin, Sasuke pretending he isn't shaking. Sakura glued to the bridge builder like panic can be solved by hiding behind a client. Kiba barking like noise equals courage. Their first real violence, and they are still trying to be characters instead of survivors. Naruto doesn't waste breath scolding them. He acts. He floods the field with clones, not as a dramatic flex, but as a tactical hammer. His numbers force space. His bodies deny angles. He turns Zabuza's pressure into something that can be managed, and in the chaos, he pulls Kakashi's headband back down over the Sharingan with an almost gentle efficiency, like he's putting a lid on a boiling pot before it burns the house down. Kakashi collapses anyway, exhausted, and Naruto orders clones to carry him without ceremony. The team starts moving again toward Tazuna's home because stopping is how you get hunted. It's only after the immediate danger passes that the second danger shows its teeth: ego. Sasuke sneers the moment he can speak again, offended that Naruto exists in the same space as his pride. Sakura piles on, praising Sasuke's cool moves as if the fight was a performance. Kiba tries to rewrite his own fear into victory by bragging to his dog. Naruto watches them with a hollow patience that scares even him a little. Then, Kakashi, half-conscious, asks Naruto for a private conversation later. Sasuke hears it and reacts like he's being robbed. Naruto doesn't even turn his head when he answers. He tells Sasuke the truth in a sentence sharp enough to cut. Right now, Sasuke is not a leader. Right now, Sasuke is fodder with a famous name. If Sasuke wants to survive, he needs to stop staring at his own legend and start looking at the field. Sakura snaps back, as predictable as gravity, and reaches for the cheapest knife she can find. She talks about Naruto's parents. She says they left him. The world narrows. Naruto surges forward on reflex, not to kill, but to erase the sound from existence. Kakashi's arm shoots out and clamps down hard enough to stop him, and in that grip, Naruto feels the difference between impulse and consequence. He forces his breath to slow. Then he speaks to Sakura in a voice that is quiet, controlled, and far more dangerous than yelling. He tells her she doesn't get to use ignorance as permission, not about his life, not about his parents, not about anything she has never had to survive. Sakura backs up so fast she nearly trips, suddenly remembering she is not in a classroom anymore. Naruto lets her retreat, because making a point is not worth splitting the team in enemy territory. They reach Tazuna's village as the sun drags low, a place worn down by poverty and fear, the kind of place that makes it obvious someone has been squeezing the life out of it for a long time. Tazuna's family welcomes them with practiced nerves. The house is small, the air stale, the smiles too thin. Kakashi is carried inside. Naruto's clones set him down carefully, and Naruto takes position without being told, back to a wall, eyes on doors, ears on windows. Kakashi looks up at him, one eye heavy, mind still working through pain. "I need to talk to you," he murmurs again, making the words land like a warning. Naruto nods once, already feeling the weight of it, because whatever Kakashi is about to say is going to define whether this mission stays an escort or becomes a war. Naruto nods once, already feeling the weight of it, because whatever Kakashi is about to say is going to define whether this mission stays an escort or becomes a war, and wars don't care how old you are. Kakashi waits until the room clears. Tazuna's family withdraws. The Genin step outside with the kind of uneasy silence that comes after you realize your first brush with death wasn't a story. Naruto remains. He posts a clone at the window and another at the door without announcing it. Not because he doesn't trust Kakashi, because he doesn't trust the world. Kakashi speaks low. He confirms what Naruto already suspects. The mission was misclassified. It isn't a simple escort, it's a targeted kill contract, and the client either lied or thought the lie was worth it. The enemy isn't just a missing nin, the enemy is money, an organized grip around the throat of this country. Gatō, a civilian name with shinobi consequences. Kakashi explains what that means. No clear battlefield, no honorable terms, just assets hired to erase resistance. Just mercenaries paid to win by any method that works. And Kakashi admits in the same breath that his own stamina is already damaged. The Sharingan saved them, but using it this early is a tax that keeps collecting. Naruto asks the only question that matters. If Zabuza returns, what is the plan? Kakashi's eye narrows, measuring him, recalculating. Then he says, the thing that changes everything. He's giving Naruto authority. Not officially, not on paper, but in reality. If Kakashi goes down, Naruto becomes the pivot. Naruto becomes the one who makes the call that decides whether the Genin survive or become corpses in a history no one will remember. Naruto doesn't act honored. He doesn't puff up. He just accepts it like he has been living with responsibility for years and is finally being acknowledged for it. Kakashi tells him one more thing. Something he didn't expect to say to any genin, ever. Shadow clones are not just a technique, they are a system. If Naruto uses them the way he used them on Mizuki, he will burn out. He will go empty at the wrong time. He will die with 100 bodies around him and no chakra left to move. Naruto answers with a calm that isn't arrogant. He already knows. Kakashi studies him like he is trying to decide whether to be impressed or terrified. Then he orders him to train with the others anyway. Not because Naruto needs basics, because the others do, and a team that fractures under pressure becomes an invitation for the enemy to take them apart. Outside, the air is colder. The sea wind drags salt into everything. Naruto gathers the genin and lays down rules. No dramatics, no speeches, simple directives. Rotation watch, don't wander alone, no ego fights, no insults, not here. Sasuke bristles the moment Naruto speaks like a leader. Naruto doesn't argue. He just assigns him the most dangerous job. Perimeter. Sasuke's pride forces him to accept it. Sakura takes interior protection. Kiba and Akamaru get scouting lines close to the house. Naruto covers everything with clones like invisible wire, overlapping fields of vision, creating a net of awareness that makes the woods feel smaller. Training begins the next day, not for show, but because survival requires it. Kakashi pushes chakra control. Tree walking. Balance. Focus under fatigue. Sasuke attacks it like it's a contest. Sakura tries to keep pace. Kiba complains and then overcompensates. Naruto does it once, cleanly, then stops. They stare at him, waiting for him to slip, waiting for the village clown to reveal he's still a joke. He doesn't slip. So Naruto changes the training for himself. He uses clones to split the drill into layers. One clone keeps running tree walk laps, building endurance. Another practices footwork at the base, refining movement into something that wastes less energy. Another sits with his eyes closed, shaping chakra like a blade he is learning to hold without cutting himself. He is turning one exercise into an entire curriculum. Sasuke notices. Of course he does. Sasuke's entire life is built around noticing anyone who threatens his narrative. The rivalry that follows isn't playful, it's predatory. Sasuke pushes harder, trying to force Naruto into failure. Naruto stays calm, letting Sasuke's desperation show itself like sweat. Then the woods shift. Naruto feels it first. A presence, a pressure. Not the heavy murder intent of a brute, something quieter, something surgical. He turns his head and in the trees he sees the mask. Hunter Nin. A figure standing too still, breathing too slow, watching them like a scientist watches animals in a cage. Naruto's clones tighten. His body doesn't move. He measures distance, angle, exit routes. The Hunter Nin's gaze lands on Kakashi, not the genin. That's confirmation. Zabuza is coming back, and someone is cleaning up evidence. Kakashi signals the team to return. Calm. No panic. But the order has weight, he knows it too. Back at Tazuna's home, Naruto doubles guard. Clones on the roof. Clones in the trees. Clones hidden in the yard with instructions not to engage unless Naruto gives the signal. He makes the house feel like a trap. Sakura watches him with an expression that isn't admiration, not yet. It's confusion. Because Naruto isn't behaving like her childhood image of him, he's behaving like someone who expects people to die if he makes the wrong call. That night, when the fog rolls in, it arrives like a living thing. It crawls between trees. It wraps around the house. It muffles sound until even breath feels loud. It turns the world into outlines. Naruto steps outside. He doesn't send a clone first. He goes himself. A deliberate choice. A statement. He stands on the porch with the mist licking at his ankles and waits. Zabuza emerges from the gray like a nightmare given shape. Sword on his back. Smile hidden behind bandages. He doesn't speak right away. He listens, as if the air can tell him where his prey is. Kakashi steps beside Naruto, already bleeding from earlier strain. Sasuke and the others appear behind, trying not to show fear. Zabuza laughs softly, the sound of someone who enjoys control. He says he came to finish the job. Naruto doesn't respond with bravado. He responds with numbers. Clones appear in a ring, silent, holding positions, not rushing. It's a formation, not a tantrum. A message that Naruto isn't here to entertain a missing nin's confidence. Zabuza tilts his head, amused, because he still believes experience will crush youth. Then the hunter nin appears in the fog, standing near Zabuza like an obedient shadow. Naruto's eyes narrow. Something is wrong. The hunter nin's posture is too perfect, too still, too controlled, like someone trained to be invisible. Like someone who learned discipline the hard way. Zabuza launches. The clash is immediate. Water techniques flood the space. Blades flash through mist. Kakashi matches him, but every exchange costs him more than it costs Zabuza. The Sharingan strains. Kakashi's breath becomes heavier. The fight tilts. Zabuza traps Kakashi in a water prison, sealing him inside a sphere that reflects moonlight and panic. Sasuke and Sakura freeze, because the world has just proven that a Jonin can be captured, and that means the Genin are disposable. Naruto doesn't freeze. He issues orders in short bursts. Sasuke, distract. Kiba, flank. Sakura, protect Tazuna. He doesn't ask for agreement. He doesn't give time for pride. He forces motion. Then he does what the village never expected him to do. He uses Sasuke, not as a rival, as a tool. He coordinates a wire and shuriken trick with perfect timing, using clones to create openings, using Sasuke's precision as the blade point while his own numbers provide the hammer. The plan lands. Zabuza's attention flickers. The water prison trembles. Kakashi drops out, gasping, furious, alive. For 1 second, the field resets, and in that second, Naruto watches the hunter nin. The mask turns toward him, and Naruto feels something like recognition, not of a face, but of a kind of loneliness that isn't childish, a loneliness trained into weapon shape. The hunter nin moves. Needles flash, not sloppy. Perfect arcs. They strike pressure points with the kind of accuracy that doesn't come from mercenary work. That kind of precision comes from doctrine, from someone raised to obey, not to choose. Naruto is forced to respond. Clones take needles, popping in smoke, feeding Naruto information. He learns the needle speed, the angle preference, the pattern. He counters. Zabuza snarls at the hunter nin to handle Naruto while he handles Kakashi. Naruto's brain clicks again. A missing nin giving orders like he expects obedience. A hunter nin operating like a teammate. This isn't a cleanup crew. This is a partnership. Naruto presses the hunter nin harder, forcing them back toward the edge of the fog. He uses clones to cut off escape routes, boxing them into a place where the mist can't hide angles anymore. A needle grazes his cheek. He tastes iron. His eyes don't widen. He doesn't panic. He simply steps closer, daring the hunter nin to commit. The hunter nin hesitates. Just a fraction. That hesitation is the crack. Naruto speaks, low, not to taunt, but to test. He tells the hunter nin they don't have to die for Zabuza. The masked figure stiffens. And in that stiffness, Naruto sees the truth. Not loyalty, fear, control. And that means leverage. Before Naruto can push further, the battlefield shifts again. Kakashi drives Zabuza back, but not enough to finish. The fog thickens. Zabuza retreats with the hunter nin into the gray, leaving behind only the threat of return. When the mist finally thins, the yard looks like a place that barely avoided becoming a grave. Kakashi leans on a fence post, exhausted. Sasuke is breathing hard, eyes burning. Sakura's hands shake despite her trying to hide it. Kiba looks sick, realizing he almost died in a country that isn't even his own. Naruto stands in the center, calm, staring at the spot where the hunter nin vanished. Because he's already made the next connection. If that masked shinobi is a tool, then someone is holding the handle. And if Orochimaru is moving in the background of the world, then tools like that don't exist by accident. Naruto turns back toward the house, voice quiet. They're not done. Not even close, and the people in this house finally start to understand the kind of enemy they bought with a lie. Kakashi forces rest like it's a commandment. Not because anyone feels safe, but because exhaustion is a slower death that still counts. He assigns watches. He orders the genin to sleep in shifts. He keeps his voice casual to keep them from falling apart. Naruto doesn't argue. He just adjusts the system underneath Kakashi's orders so it actually works. He replaces tired eyes with fresh clones every hour. He positions them in the tree line where the fog thins last, and he sets the clones to do one thing only: watch for patterns, not threats. Tracks. Sound. The way birds stop singing when a predator is near. The way wind changes when someone is moving against it. He also starts mapping the village, not with chalk, with footsteps. He learns where the fishermen keep their boats, which homes have strong doors, which alleys lead to the water, where the poorest houses cluster, because that's where Gatsu's pressure is worst. He learns which men still carry a spine under their fear and which ones have already surrendered. He doesn't judge them, he catalogs them. He finds Inari watching him from a doorway, like the boy is waiting for Naruto to confirm that heroes aren't real. Naruto doesn't try to inspire him with speeches. He just asks him where Gatsu's men drink, where they brag, where they keep their weapons when they think no one is looking. Inari answers because the question isn't childish. It's practical. It makes him feel useful in a world that has made him feel small. By the second day, Kakashi is back on his feet, but his strength isn't clean. He's holding himself together with experience and stubbornness. Zabuza will return, and Kakashi knows it. That's why he starts training them harder, pushing until muscles shake. Sasuke eats the training like rage, as if the world owes him a win. Sakura tries, and her focus is real, but her fear still leaks through in the way her breath catches at sudden sounds. Kiba tries to act fearless and ends up making mistakes because he's too loud with his effort. Naruto watches all of them and accepts the truth they don't want to hear yet. If Zabuza returns at full force, the team as it exists right now isn't enough, so Naruto expands the team, not by adding people, by turning himself into infrastructure. He sends clones to gather food, to gather information, to keep constant eyes on the tree line while his real body trains. He turns the mission into layers of redundancy. If one sensor fails, another catches it. If one fighter drops, another steps in. And in the quiet between drills, Naruto keeps thinking about the hunter nin. The posture, the precision, the hesitation. He has seen fear before. He has lived inside it. But this fear was different. It wasn't fear of dying, it was fear of disobeying. That kind of fear has a handler. On the third night, a clone returns to him with new information. Tracks near the river, light footprints, no heavy sword marks, someone moving like a ghost. Naruto goes alone, because this isn't something he trusts the team to handle without escalating into noise. He finds the hunter nin at the water's edge. No mask this time. Just a person standing in moonlight, hands tucked inside a simple cloak, face calm in the way calm can be when it's been forced into you. Pale skin, dark eyes. Beauty that doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like a lure. Naruto stops at a careful distance. The stranger speaks first. The voice is soft, controlled, neither male nor female in any way that matters. Adult, measured, dangerous. They tell Naruto they came to thank him. Naruto doesn't pretend to be flattered. He asks why. The stranger says he could have killed them. He chose not to. Naruto's jaw tightens. He tells them they disappeared before he could decide anything. A small smile flickers and dies. The stranger says they saw the way he looked at them, like a man reading a locked door and already choosing the tools to open it. Naruto asks the question he's been holding behind his teeth. Who are you? The stranger pauses, and Naruto sees the crack again. That hesitation isn't weakness. It's a wound. They give a name. Haku. No clan name offered. No pride. Just a label. Naruto waits, letting the silence do the squeezing. Then he says Zabuza's name, and Haku's eyes shift just enough to confirm everything. Naruto speaks carefully now, like he's walking along glass. He tells Haku that Zabuza is using them. Haku answers without heat. Zabuza gave them purpose. Zabuza gave them a place to stand in a world that wanted them erased. Zabuza's dream is their dream, because without Zabuza they would have nothing. Naruto recognizes the language. It's not devotion. It's dependency dressed as loyalty. It's the kind of chain people accept when they've never been offered anything else. Naruto steps closer, just enough to make the next words land. He tells Haku purpose isn't the same as freedom. Haku's eyes narrow. The air tightens. A thin film of killing intent brushes the riverbank, then pulls back like it never existed. Naruto doesn't flinch. He tells Haku that if Zabuza orders them to die, they will. Haku answers simply, yes. Naruto's throat tightens in a way he hates. Not because he cares about Zabuza's tool, because he recognizes what it means to believe your life belongs to someone else. Naruto offers Haku a way out that isn't a plea, just a fact. If Haku walks away now, Naruto won't chase. Naruto won't report. Naruto will pretend he never saw them, a clean exit, no shame attached. Haku looks at him for a long moment, and the moonlight makes their expression almost gentle. Then Haku shakes their head. Zabuza needs them. Naruto hears the real meaning. Haku needs Zabuza. The conversation ends without violence, but it leaves a bruise behind Naruto's ribs. He returns to the house with the conclusion he doesn't share. The next fight will be worse, because Zabuza isn't just bringing skill. He's bringing someone who will die smiling if ordered. Morning comes sharp and gray. The bridge construction site waits like a skeleton. Tazuna insists they move forward. Every day they stall is another day. Gatō's chokehold tightens. The village needs a symbol. The bridge is more than wood and steel now. It's a statement that the poor can still build something that outlives fear. Kakashi agrees to escort. Naruto feels the trap before they even step onto the frame. The air is too quiet. The workers are too tense. The sea wind is wrong. Then the mist returns, rolling in like a verdict. Zabuza appears on the bridge, sword already in hand, grin invisible but present in the confidence of his stance. Haku appears beside him, masked again, obedient shadow restored. Behind them, the sound of feet. Many, Gatō's men. Thugs with cheap weapons and hungry eyes, flooding onto the bridge from the far end, turning the structure into a corridor with no easy escape. This isn't an assassination attempt anymore. This is a public execution. Gatō is here too, stepping into view like he owns the air, smiling at the idea of controlling shinobi with money, the way he controls fishermen with debt. He announces his plan without shame. Kill Tazuna. Kill the resistance. Then kill Zabuza too, because mercenaries aren't partners. They're expenses. Zabuza's body goes still. That is the first real fracture Naruto sees in him. Not fear. Betrayal. The moment a man realizes he was never treated as human, only as a tool. Haku doesn't react. Still, waiting for orders, waiting to be used. Kakashi moves first, charging Zabuza, but the real battlefield is the bridge itself. Gatō's men surge toward the builders. The Genin split. Sakura protects the workers. Kiba and Akamaru try to hold a line. Sasuke fights like rage can stop numbers. Naruto becomes the pivot. He floods the bridge with clones, forming walls of bodies to slow the thugs, pushing them back without unnecessary brutality, knocking weapons away, breaking momentum, creating space. He doesn't kill them. He doesn't need to. He just needs them disorganized, scared, and breathing long enough to rethink charging into a storm. Then Haku moves. Ice mirrors erupt around Naruto in a flash, forming a cage of reflective glass and cold. Needles flicker from every angle. The technique is elegant, lethal, designed to end you before you understand you're dying. Naruto's clones pop in rapid succession, feeding him the angles, the timing, the pattern of the assault. Pain flashes. Cold bites. He stays upright. Inside the mirror prison, Naruto speaks. Not to taunt. To test the last remaining crack. He calls Haku by name. The needles pause for a fraction of a breath. Naruto tells Haku he met them at the river. He tells them he offered an exit. He tells them this is the moment that decides what their life means. Haku's voice echoes through the mirrors, calm as a sealed room. Their life means Zabuza's dream. Naruto exhales slowly, feeling the shape of the trap tighten. Then he says the one line that hits like a blade. Gatō is going to kill Zabuza when this is done. Silence. Real silence. The kind that makes the mirrors feel less stable. Haku's needles resume, faster now, as if speed can drown out thought. Naruto stops trying to dodge perfectly. He stops trying to win by finesse. He chooses a different doctrine. He chooses pressure. He spawns clones inside the mirror cage despite the tight space, using bodies as shields, using sacrifice as data, forcing Haku to throw more needles, forcing patterns to repeat, forcing the system to reveal its seams. Outside, Kakashi and Zabuza clash with everything they have left. Steel and water and anger. Gatō's men hesitate as Naruto's clone army keeps swallowing their advances. The builders huddle, watching Genin do work that should belong to veterans. And in the center of it all, Naruto's eyes lock onto a single mirror where the angle feels slightly delayed. A weak point. A door. Naruto gathers chakra, not reckless, not wild, controlled, focused. He drives his fist into the mirror with raw force amplified by timing, and the glass fractures with a scream of ice. He bursts out of the prison, bleeding shallow cuts, breath steady, and meets Haku face to face in the open on the bridge. For 1 second, Haku's mask is between them like a wall. Naruto reaches up and rips it away. The face beneath isn't a monster. It's an adult. Calm, beautiful, exhausted. Eyes trained to obey. Eyes that have never been allowed to choose. The world slows. Naruto could end Haku right there. A clean strike. A decisive win. Instead, Naruto holds. His hand hovers, then pulls back. Not mercy out of weakness. A choice out of control. Haku's eyes widen. Just a fraction. Because no one has ever offered them a moment like that in the middle of violence. And that is when Zabuza screams Haku's name. Not as an order, but as panic. Because Gatō's betrayal has fully surfaced and the thugs are turning their weapons on everyone, including the missing nin they hired. Haku's head snaps towards Zabuza. The handler calls. The chain tightens. Haku moves. And Naruto realizes, in the space of a breath, that the next second will decide who dies on this bridge and what kind of person Naruto becomes when it happens. Haku moves like a final answer, body turning away from Naruto and towards Zabuza's voice, toward the only command that has ever mattered. The mask is gone now, face exposed to wind and salt and consequence, and Naruto sees it clearly. This isn't hatred driving Haku, it's programming. Zabuza's blade clashes with Kakashi's, but the real collision is happening inside Haku. Two truths slamming together, Gatō's betrayal, Zabuza's sudden, panicked humanity. The mercenary thugs pressing in from both sides, hungry enough to kill anyone standing between them and a payday. Naruto doesn't chase Haku with anger. He chases with strategy. He splits in the clones and spreads across the bridge in a moving lattice, cutting off angles, forcing Haku to commit to paths that are readable. He keeps his real body just behind the net, watching for the moment the pattern breaks. Haku reaches Zabuza's side in a flash, needles poised to end Kakashi's pressure. Kakashi shifts, electricity crackling as he prepares something decisive. Zabuza reacts with the instinct of a killer. And in that instant, Naruto makes a choice that feels like swallowing iron. He doesn't try to stop the Jonin from fighting, he goes for the chain. Naruto surges in, palm flashing with a seal tag he prepared hours ago, a small rectangle of inked command that's been waiting in his sleeve like a last resort. He slaps it toward the back of Haku's neck. Haku twists away at the last second, fast enough that the tag doesn't land cleanly, but close enough that Naruto sees it. A different seal already there, hidden under skin and hairline, pressed into place like ownership. A memory replacement seal. Naruto's breath goes cold. Because that explains everything. The obedience, the clean devotion, the refusal to even imagine leaving. This isn't just loyalty. This is control that reaches into identity. Haku's eyes meet Naruto's for a fraction, and in them he sees something raw confusion that shouldn't exist if the mask was real. So Naruto forces it. He drives another tag into place over the existing seal, not to damage, not to torture, just to disrupt. To jam the signal long enough for the truth to surface. Haku staggers, the needles drop. The body sways like the world has tilted. And then the scream comes, not loud, but broken, like breath tearing through a throat that has been held shut for too long. Memories flood back into Haku's face in rapid flashes. Hands over ears, eyes wide. A shudder that looks like the soul trying to escape the ribs. Haku whispers a sentence that lands like a crime scene report. It wasn't the purge, he did it. Naruto catches Haku before the knees hit the bridge boards, steadying the head, keeping the body from crashing. Haku claws at his hands like a drowning person, desperate not to lose the pain, because the pain is proof the memories are real. Naruto doesn't comfort with softness, he anchors with clarity. He asks, quiet and direct, who? Haku's lips tremble around the name, Zabuza. The word hits the bridge like a dropped weapon, not because it surprises Naruto, because it confirms the worst kind of manipulation. Zabuza didn't just save a lost shinobi. He manufactured a servant, then fed that servant a story sturdy enough to carry death. Haku rises unsteadily, eyes burning with something new. Not obedience, not romance, something sharper and older. Agency. They stagger toward the clash of steel and lightning. Kakashi's hand is already driving forward, electricity screaming, a decisive strike meant to end Zabuza's movement before the next wave of mercenaries swallows them all. Zabuza sees Haku and shouts, an order, a reflex, the handler tightening the leash. But Haku doesn't move to obey. Haku moves to confront. And in the half-second Zabuza's focus breaks, Naruto makes his third choice of the day. He goes for Gatō. Because the bridge isn't the enemy, the money is. Naruto's clones carve a corridor through the thugs without turning it into slaughter. Bodies hit boards, weapons scatter. Men stumble back as if the bridge itself is rejecting them. Naruto's real body reaches Gatō, whose confidence has finally begun to tremble. Gatō opens his mouth to bargain. Naruto doesn't let him. He ends it fast. One decisive motion, clean, controlled, the kind of kill that isn't fueled by rage but by doctrine. Remove the asset, collapse the operation, cut the throat of the machine. Gatō's body drops. His men freeze, because fear changes allegiance faster than loyalty ever could. On the bridge, Zabuza looks at Gatō's corpse, then at Kakashi, then at Haku. Without the mask, Haku with tears still clinging to the lashes, Haku not kneeling anymore. And Zabuza's expression finally fractures into something human and ugly. Not regret the way stories sell it, regret the way real predators feel it when the world stops obeying. The mercenaries surge again, desperate now, because their employer is dead and the only way to get paid is to take something from the wreckage. They rush the bridge like a swarm. Naruto reacts instantly, snapping orders to his clones, pushing workers behind makeshift cover, forming a living wall where the thugs want to break through. Kakashi moves in tandem, exhausted but lethal, while Zabuza, cornered by betrayal and exposed by Haku's returning memories, turns his sword not as a hired blade but as a man with nowhere left to run. It becomes a brutal, chaotic sweep. Not gore, just inevitability. Men who thought civilians were easy targets meeting resistance they didn't budget for. When it finally slows, the bridge is still standing. So is Tazuna. So is the village. Zabuza staggers away from the center line, bleeding, pride leaking out in every uneven step. Haku stands near him like a storm held in a human frame, trembling with exhaustion and the aftershock of truth. Naruto approaches carefully, not as a child demanding answers, but as an investigator closing a file. He tells Haku the counter seal is temporary. The original seal can be removed permanently, but it has to be done right, safely, cleanly. Haku nods once, jaw tight, as if agreeing to surgery on the soul. Kakashi watches Naruto with a look that is half shock, half respect. This isn't genin behavior. This is command-level triage. They return to the house with the survivors. Haku sleeps for the first time without a leash tightening in the mind. Naruto keeps watch like a guard dog that doesn't bark. And that's when the ugliness inside Team 7 reveals itself. Sasuke and Sakura slip into the room where Haku rests, blades in hand, moving with the quiet certainty of people who believe killing the vulnerable is justice. Naruto and Kakashi catch them in the act, just in time to stop the kunai from becoming a corpse. Kakashi pins Sakura back, fury controlled behind his eye. Naruto blocks Sasuke, and the Uchiha's gaze is feral with pride and hatred, as if Haku's existence is an insult that must be erased. Naruto doesn't lecture. He disarms Sasuke with one sharp movement, then stares him down until the boy's breath stutters. Kiba, to his credit, is the one who finally knocks Sasuke out when he won't stop struggling. Sakura collapses into shaking outrage that sounds more like fear than conviction. Naruto ties them both up without ceremony. Because this is what happens when children are trained to fight without being trained to think. Kakashi reorganizes the team structure for the next days, like he's rearranging pieces on a board that almost costs lives. Naruto's clones expand the net. And when Naruto remembers Gatō's last words, the implication of a second strike waiting, he doesn't rest until he finds it. It takes days of surveillance, patrol rotation, and incremental pressure. Then one of Naruto's clones finds the mercenary encampment Gatō left behind like a rotting limb. Naruto, Kakashi, and Haku move that night, not as a standard cell, as a surgical unit. They plan, they execute. They dismantled the camp with precision and minimal collateral, cutting down the threat before it can regroup and crawl back toward wave like a second wave of infection. When they return, exhausted, blood drying on sleeves, Sasuke tries again. He rushes Naruto, uses Naruto's body as cover, ducks behind him to stab Haku with a dinner knife like a coward trying to claim honor. Naruto reacts on instinct, not to win, but to protect. He swaps Haku out in the last instant, takes the strike in a non-lethal place, and feels the sting flare hot under skin. Something inside him, something sealed, surges at the edge of his awareness, a tenant pressing against the bars. Naruto grits his teeth and forces it down, breathing through the spike, refusing to let that power choose the moment. He won't become a monster because someone else wants him to. Later, back in Konoha's tower, the report is delivered with clear, brutal honesty. Kakashi doesn't sugarcoat Team 7's failures. Naruto doesn't romanticize his choices. The Hokage listens, eyes heavy with the cost of what a village creates when it raises weapons as children. Haku is not handed back to the world as prey. Haku's memory seal is removed permanently, the chain cut at the root, and the person beneath it is given a chance to decide what life means without an owner. It isn't forgiveness, it's correction. And Naruto, standing in the same office where he accepted being alone on paper, understands the final consequence of this mission. Being a one-man team doesn't mean being solitary. It means every decision is yours, every kill, every mercy, every ripple downstream. Tell me in the comments, was Naruto right to end Gatō the way he did, or did that single clean kill cross a line that the village can't uncross? Naruto leaves the tower with his wound wrapped, his mind already building the next map. Orochimaru is still out there. The village's politics are still sharp. Team 7 is still unstable. And the world has now seen, even briefly, what happens when the boy everyone dismissed stops playing the role they wrote for him. He walks into the street, breath steady, eyes forward, and for the first time, the village doesn't just stare at him like a curse. It stares at him like a variable it can't control. He keeps walking anyway because control was never the point. Outcome is.